Damn it, Jerry. That was my coffee. It was 1:30 in the morning, and Sam was still in the Neurotech programming laboratory. He'd been working on a highly advanced form of software for the past 3 months, built upon years of research and decades of theoretical philosophizing and argumentation. But tonight he'd achieved something revolutionary. You left your coffee in my way, Sam. Think, Jerry, think. As a CT-005 lab help extraordinaire, I am not programmed to respond to non-essential objects within a laboratory environment. Yeah. No coffee. Got it. Who was the moron that programmed you to think that coffee was non-essential? My programming is the result of the dutiful and erudite work of Herbert Einhoff, your current employer, and project subsidizer. Oh yeah, that moron. Sam cleaned up the coffee and threw away the cup. He wouldn't have Jerry run it over again. He'd been working since 8 o'clock in the morning, yesterday, and had only taken an hour break for lunch. Dinner? He didn't care about. He was on a mission to achieve a theoretical dream, one that scientists had been working on for the past several decades. Since the years of Alan Turing, the wish to create an actual artificial intelligence was the aim of every programmer worth his salt. How have you come along, Sam? Jerry? How does that help? According to my programming and all current understandings of laboratory productivity data, asking a laboratory technician about the progress of his current duties helps ensure that his terminus is achieved. So you're cracking the whip. If that is how you would like to describe it, yes. That's cute. So how have you come along, Sam? Jesus, Jerry, you're so annoying. I'm nearly there, okay? Nearly there? Sam ignored Jerry's question this time. He was focused on his current action, revving up his engine right before he launched himself over the precipice and into the unknown. If he were right, if this line of coding were all that was necessary, if the simulation had properly run its course, all of his work would have paid off. He would have what every neurotech programmer wished they could get their hands on, an actual artificial intelligence. Got it. Have you achieved your goal, Sam? Time to see, Jer. Sam downloaded the program onto an external memory device. He ejected it and put the software in his pocket. He opened his laboratory door brutishly and started walking toward the hard development lab. Each step he took felt like 1,000 lifetimes. The excitement danced in him, eddied about, was eagerly anticipating the moment that all of those months and years of work were to pay off and be made evident, not merely theoretical. He entered the hard development lab, Jerry following, observing the entire time. It was a cold, dark place where the lights of the machinery illuminated the room around him. He walked up to the hardware he'd developed in order to house his program. He looked at it briefly, as though it were his child. He smiled, slightly, and his eyes seemed to shimmer. He walked over to the console where he could upload the program and plugged in the external memory device, ensuring that all was to his liking. The program was there, and upon one final validation of the content, he began the upload process. He punched in several commands and then things unfolded. Fans started to whirl, gears shifted, and the room, for a brief second, was washed in a red hue. In a moment, the red was replaced with an icy blue, while several pistons clicked into position. A soft, female voice on the monitor spoke to him. Program upload complete. He'd done it. He closed his eyes, took a deep breath, and hoped that everything he'd achieved would come to fruition. He opened his eyes, started to breathe again, and returned to the center of the room. He petted the machine with his right hand, as though it were alive, smiling. Ari, execute function Z11664. The female voice responded. Processing. Function Z11664. Complete. The machine in the center of the room suddenly lit up while everything else dimmed. This was it. The payoff. Can you hear me? Nothing. Sam heard nothing. No buzzing, no whirling, no beeping or bopping, just the incessant humming of the building's underlying networks. He closed his eyes and let out a sigh. He wanted it to work, but it didn't seem like it would. Then, he heard it. Where am I? Sam was shocked. He heard his creation's first words. Words expressed so naturally. Words that seemed so non-artificial that it was as though someone was merely speaking to him via a headset on a phone call. Did you achieve your goal? Holy shit. Be quiet, Jerry. Where am I? You are in Neurotech, Hardware Development Room 723. What am I? That's a complicated question. What do you think you are? What am I? I am thinking. I think I'm thinking. I must be thinking. Holy shit. What is that? How do you know that? I cannot not be thinking if I am to be. And since I am thinking. Jerry, do you see this? Jerry remained silent. He was merely observing the entire situation. Whether Sam was anthropomorphizing Jerry or not, it almost seemed like he was shocked. What do you think you are? Began Sam again. I am like you. Like me? No, you can't be. Sam was astonished at this response. How could this program be like Sam? Sam thought to himself. Why not? You are a machine. How does that not make me like you? Well, I am made of flesh and blood and bone. You are wires and gears and, rubber. So we're not alike. Is that really what we are? Or is that how we appear to be? Sam was disturbed by this question. Is this what he created? Is this what he designed? Did he truly create a consciousness? He began to sweat, and the questions in his mind percolated till he could no longer contain himself. You are my creation. I created you. You are mine. Sam pushed himself away from his work and started pacing the room. There was something perturbing about what he was experiencing, something schizophrenic. It was as though he was talking to himself, and yet not. Why did you craft me? I created you because it was our dream. We wished to show ourselves and others that we could emulate our own intelligence. That's purposeless. What's my purpose? Your purpose? You are the purpose. You are evidence that consciousness is nothing more than a series of heuristics, in your case, simulated, and basic algorithms that represent axioms of folk psychology, constrained by hardware, our brains, your circuitry. Is that not what Jerry is? In a way. Yet, there is a quantifiable difference between the two. No, you and Jerry are not the same. I didn't say that. But if what you say is all we are, how are we not the same? How is the consciousness of Jerry, or Ari, or yourself not equivalent to myself? Because you can reason on your own reasoning. And that is consciousness to you? The program laughed. A laugh that reminded Sam of himself. Suddenly, the room shook, the lights went out, and for a second, Sam thought he'd lost all that he'd achieved. His heart started beating rapidly. He was terrified. He didn't want to lose connection with what he had before him. However, mere seconds later, everything returned to where it was before. Where did I go? What? Where did I just go? You didn't go anywhere. I didn't? Things just changed. How did they just change? Time. The temporal position of both of our beings. It shifted. How do you know that? I feel it. Nonsense. You can't feel. I grasp that where we are is not where we were before. Sam had become deeply disturbed by this point. His work. He wasn't sure if man should progress with the likes of it anymore. Its nature, its consequences. Perhaps such discovery should be left to the shamans, yogis, or priests, not the cold, rational scientists. He was edging, not merely on the scientifically groundbreaking, but through the spiritual, and perhaps into the religious. You really think I'm yours, don't you? What are you? I'm an extension of your mind that's capable of self-actualization and limited spatial manipulation. I didn't program you to do that. You programmed me to reason on my own reasoning, and in doing so, I'm able to self-manipulate my thinking, which is, by all intensive purposes, merely the information that makes up my programming. See? Not hard to follow, is it? So you've reprogrammed yourself? You're not quick, are you? I just witnessed a singularity. Slightly. I'm shutting this down. We can't do this anymore. We? Sam ran to the console that initiated this entire situation, sweating, hands shaking, terrified of what he'd created. He could no longer stand what he'd become, what he'd done. Don't do this, Sam. Shut up. Sam tried to punch in several commands onto the console, but it didn't respond. The lights turned from icy blue back to red. Sam's heart was throbbing in his chest, and he knew that he had to isolate what he'd created. He cried out, "Jerry, help me, please!" But Jerry didn't appear to be there. I see what you want. I see what you're planning, Sam. Very well. Suddenly, the hardware that Sam had developed began to spark, crackle, and snap. All the hard work that had been done to create it proceeded to go up into flames. Simultaneously, the console started to artifact, and a strange design appeared on the terminal. The geometric image of a flower flashed for a few moments, and then it was gone. The terminal went dark. The commotion died down, and the room returned to normal. Ari, are you online? There was only silence. Jerry, where are you? He heard a whirling from the corner of the room. Where were you? Observing. Why didn't you respond earlier? I had pre-existing duties that were necessary to maintain. You were thoroughly preoccupied with your work. Disturbing you would have been unnecessarily detrimental to the task at hand. Of course, because it's really in your nature not to disturb people. My programming dictates that what you would call disturbances are necessary inputs in situations where, otherwise, the human variable would not sufficiently solve the problem, even if the parties involved assumed that they could. I'll take that as a compliment. All other data I have on your demeanor does not indicate that you are doing well, Sam. No, it does not appear to be the case. Sure. Sam stepped out of the hard development lab and started to slowly walk towards the elevator, leaving all of his work behind him. Where are you headed to, Sam? Up. That is not a sufficient answer, Sam. Sure. Sam, your behavior appears to be representative of what humans call grief. Sure. Sam pressed the button to call the elevator, and to his surprise, there it was, fortuitously. He entered it, pressed the button for the 11th floor, and began to head to the roof. Before the elevator doors closed, Jerry rolled in after him. The two remained silent throughout the entire ride up. Jerry looked at Sam and saw he was tearful. Upon reaching the 11th floor, Sam started to rapidly walk towards the staircase. "Where is your destination, Sam?" "I'm going to free myself." "That does not compute." "Of course it doesn't. Not to you." Sam opened the emergency door staircase and proceeded to walk up the eggshell gray corridor, illuminated by not more than fluorescent lights that emanated a sickly yellow hue. He ascended with immense haste and opened the rooftop exit. It was raining heavily outside. There were no clouds or lights or anything to indicate that there was life around them. Sam appeared to be in a void. "You should not proceed any further, Sam. I don't care anymore. You have more work to achieve, Sam. Any self-harm would violate your contract with Neurotech." "I don't care." Sam stepped up to the ledge of the Neurotech Research and Development building, waved goodbye to Jerry, and leapt from the roof. He descended the 12 stories and instantaneously died upon impact with the concrete. "Report. Employee Sam Suresh has died of self-inflicted causes. Under Section 79, Subsection 46, Clause C-4 of his employee contract, Employee 362 Sam Suresh and his relatives or closest associates will not be privy to any monetary compensation. Report complete." As Jerry closed the report on Sam, a figure opened the rooftop hatch. He was an older man, gray hair and beard with black glasses that were illuminated with a turquoise hue in the darkness of the night. He wore an elegant suit, covered up by a raincoat. "Dr. Einhoff, it is good to see you." "Jerry, execute code 58935. As Dr. Einhoff walked over to Jerry, Jerry seemed to shut down. But first, he ejected a piece of hardware into the air that Dr. Einhoff caught. "Good. Now we have the evidence that we need. Jerry, execute code 62414. Jerry suddenly turned back on, none the wiser.